I've come to realize that I want things for other people, that the things that I want are things that I've picked up from someone else around me. And so I spend a lot of time working on those things. And as I've...
For example?
Well, I have 3 kids, and a wife and 3 kids, and they all need things. And so I focus on getting those. Money, horseback, lessons, everything, college education, all those things. And so that has sort of become what I want, is to produce this whole experience as much as I can be a part of that. But I find it very hard to find what I want. And when I really say, okay, I've taken care of everybody else now, what do I want? I find it hard to get there and even identify anything.
Well, you're really going to enjoy this conversation because you're right on the brink of a discovery that's just going to serve you so well. Many of you will benefit as a result of this conversation. So when we talk about exploring life and knowing what you don't want and putting what you do want into the vortex, can you kind of feel what that's like? Mm-hmm. And can you also feel that when we say you create your own reality, that we're talking about anything that you are thinking about? Mm-hmm. Anything that you are thinking about. So let's start in this place. This will be the fastest way to get to the satisfying place. So when we talk about the exploration that you have with so many others and the things that it causes you to put into your vortex, the thing that is so exciting to us about that is that we know with that projection of thought that energy begins to move. And we know that your satisfaction in life process is really about how much in the flow you become, and that your dissatisfaction in life is about being out of the flow. So if you can hear from that what feels good to you, and the whole reason that you exist, the whole reason that we exist, the whole joy factor in any of it is for the opportunity to flow the energy. And the more energy that flows and the more you allow it, the better it feels. The more energy that flows and the less you allow it, the worse it feels. If you really want something and you're in sync with it, it feels really good. If you really want something and you're not in sync with it, it feels really bad. If you sort of want something and you sort of allow it, it feels sort of good. If you sort of want something and you sort of don't allow it, it feels sort of bad. In other words, there is the frequency factor and there is the momentum factor that all equal your satisfaction or your dissatisfaction factor. We're going to tell you a little story. It'll feel off the subject, but it's right on the subject. One day, a woman was complaining about her husband who had been married to someone else. And her now present husband was earning well. And every time he would get a raise in his income, his former wife and family would petition for more money. So it never felt to this woman that we were visiting with like their family could really get ahead, because his ex-wife kept getting proportionately from his earnings. And she said, "What do you think I should do?" And we said, "Well, it is our wish that your current husband had 10 ex-wives." And she was shocked. This was really causing her a lot of trouble. Why would we want that? And we said, because when you understand that when something's being called through you, it comes. So if he had many, many, many who were asking for things, there would be more flowing through him. The more who are asking, the more flows. And so even if they got 50% of it, if he has 10 wives, now he's earning 10 times as much. Now, she didn't quite follow our thought process there because she's not understanding energy the way that we are. But we want you to understand that when you have desire, whether it's on the behalf of someone else who you love or not, that desire is summoning through you. And it's not possible for you to separate your desires from their desires, because your desire is energy flowing. Your desire is to understand vibrational currency, to access vibrational currency, to flow vibrational currency, to spend vibrational currency. That's what you want. We've been saying to you all for quite a long while that everything that everyone wants is because they think they would feel better in the having of it. And so as you come to realize that you're getting what you want in all of that. But there's something that goes a little funny when you say, wait a minute, this is all for that one and that one and that one and that one, and I'm not getting anything from it. Of course, we know that's not what you were saying. But there was a sort of feeling within you that I want it for them, and I want it for them, and I want it for them, but I don't want that much for me. And we say you want all of that for you. The reason that you flow is for you. The reason that they're in your life is for you. The reason that you're dovetailing, the reason that the trajectory exists is for you. It's all for you. Esther experienced that in a rather strong way because she saw herself, and even today would describe herself as a facilitator. Even in a process like this, she's a facilitator for you to hear what Abraham means in a way that's easier for you to hear it if you're not quite in tune with it, so that you can receive it yourself. And it always was thrilling to her to do something nice for someone. And when you live with someone, there are so many opportunities to do that. And so once Jerry was no longer physically focused, she found herself not even sure what she wanted to eat because she was used to eating the other half of whatever he wanted. People say, what are you going to order? And she'd say, I don't know. I think I want salmon because that's what we always shared. But maybe I might want something else. I'm not really sure. And so that's a little bit what you're talking about, because often in your desire to be of value for others, you become sort of, and we're going to use a word deliberately and carefully, you become a little fraudulently, that didn't sound too careful, did it? Selfless, because no one really can be selfless. Because if pleasing someone pleases you, you're pleased. And you just can't separate it. In other words, you don't be nice because it benefits them. You be nice because it feels good to be nice. And you don't be of value because it's of value to somebody else. You be of value because you can't not be of value and not be out of whack with who you really are. And you don't be productive because somebody else is demanding it or needs it. You be productive because that's the trajectory that you were on when you came into this physical body, and anything other than that causes a deviation between you and you. And so we think it is a really good thing to say to all of them, I love assisting you in whatever it is I'm assisting you with, but I want you to know it's always selfish. When Esther does something nice for someone, and she does a lot of nice things for a lot of people, a lot of nice things. And often they'll say, you didn't need to do that. And Esther will say, I never do anything I need to do because that is out of whack. But I do what I want to do. And when I'm in flow, when I'm on my high-flying disc, and it is from there that the inspiration flows, then there's always value that flows from it, you see. Because there are so many conversations that people want to have. Am I spoiling the kids? Am I taking away their incentive to do for themselves? And we say, you just make yourself nuts with that. Stop it. Just get tuned in, get tapped in, get turned on, get access to this vibrational currency, and flow it in every possible way that you can. And realize that you're getting yours in every expenditure.
Okay.
Couldn't you sort of feel that click into place? Or is there some shortage consciousness that is really making you feel that you're sacrificing on behalf of others? Because if you are sacrificing on behalf of others, then that's a different deal. Because you see, when you're on the high-flying disc and the inspiration to provide is flowing, not only can you not ever be tapped out, but nothing can go wrong with the object of the recipient of your flow. But if you're not on the high-flying disc and you are feeling this shortage consciousness, which is understandable, so you're doing things not because you're inspired to, but because you should, then you can get depleted. And then it does begin to feel like, when do I get mine? And so what we're really saying to you is, you got to wake up in the morning and for at least 30 days get on that high-flying disc before you can even begin to get yours. And once you've tapped into that vibrational currency, you'll never have this question again. It will never feel to you like you are being diminished or taken advantage of or depleted by anyone, because you'll realize that it's flowing in as fast as it's flowing out, because the reason it's flowing in is because it's flowing out. That's the whole benefit of the prosperity game. In other words, if you've got objects of attention to which you are flowing it, it's going to keep coming. That was the point of us wishing that this woman's husband had 10 ex-wives, because the more that is being asked through him, then the more is flowing. And the better he feels, the better you all feel, you see.
So this feeling goes away when you stay up there.
Well, The feeling goes away because you are up there.
Right.
Because the feeling that you're having is about being here on a lower flying disc. It isn't about what anybody is doing to you or anybody is demanding from you. It's that if you're not tapped into the resources, it's like the financial world that most people are living in is a world of, they've got a clump of money and it's coming in at a certain rate. Maybe they inherited it, maybe they're earning it by the year, maybe they're earning it by the hour, but they have what feels to them like this finite clump of resources that then they are spending toward that and spending toward that and spending toward that. When you're looking at it like that, then everything that you spend feels like a diminishment because it's going away. Maybe it's going out faster than it's coming in. And so then you get that shortage consciousness. You get that sort of feeling of wanting to be more stingy or wanting to be more consciously aware of where you're spending your money. You want to be more frugal or more prudent about what you're doing. And sometimes these little kids don't feel that frugal. They just want, because that's the trajectory they're on. They just want. They don't realize that you took a tributary a while ago and that you're not flowing like they're flowing. And so they don't understand why you have an issue with spending money you don't have. Because they don't have an issue with you spending money that you don't have. Most people are living not at the end of their pile of money, but they're living at the end of their credit limit. And so we understand how that causes you to feel the way it causes you to feel. But you can get around this. You can get above this by recognizing that there's a vibrational currency that you're tapping into that will translate into clarity, it will translate into good ideas, it will translate into tangibles, it will translate into money, it translates into all of that. But you've got to tap into it before this conversation even makes any sense. As we have this conversation with lovely ones like you, we really want to come back a month from today once you have got on the high flying disc and failed, and got on it and fell off, and got on it and fell off, and got on it and fell off, because about the second or third week, you're going to get on it and stay, and get on it and stay, and get on it and stay, until when you're in the second or third month, you're going to be on it mostly. And not only are you going to have plenty of money flowing in, or whatever it is that you want, but you're going to feel, you're going to understand what we're talking about that vibrational currency. Your timing's just going to be better about everything. Your reception of ideas that are flowing to you is just going to be better, you see. So the depletion that you're feeling, it really isn't about demanding family. It's really not about them needing more resources from you to buy the things that they want than you have. It's about your own already depleted state of being that is just being accentuated by that. You see?
I get that.
So the conversation that we're having, bluntly, like what we want to say to you is, well, since you're on this disc, that's the conversation we're having. But if you were on this disc, it'd be a whole different conversation. If you're on that disc, the conversation would be sounding like, oh, I've got these kids and I am loving being the example of how to get in the flow. And they've been around me enough to know when I wasn't flowing and when I am flowing. And so now I'm really able to let them know that not only are more resources flowing through all of our experience, but more clarity and more fun and more agility and more great ideas and more living of life and more just feeling good about everything. Because it's like getting the horse before the cart instead of the cart before the horse. Get on the high flying disc and then. And you can't do that until you have 30 days. And so it's sort of like get on the high flying disc and report back.
I think I feel that most of the time in the flowing and in the example. And I sat here about 3 years ago and described a problem I was having with my daughter, and from that got that what was more important than anything to teach her was that I love her and I'm not going to risk that relationship. And so that sort of broke loose the relationship with my kids to feel better with them, and so that disc is spinning and feels great. And most of the time the resources and the money thing is fine too. I think I probably focused on that question a lot this morning, and so I'm having a hard time getting off of it, but I get what you're saying.
Well, it's a nice thing. It's like here we are, we're in an environment where we've come to have a conversation, and there is some sound coming from the other room. Can you hear it? Of course you can hear it. So we have the opportunity of focusing on what we're doing, or focusing on what they're doing, or focusing on the fact that we can't really do what we're doing as well as we were before now that they're doing what they're doing. In other words, there's all kinds of combinations of things that we could do. But the bottom line is we can make the best of what's going on.